Hello, MCU fans. Today we're going to break down the amazing Loki Season 2 trailer. I cannot wait for this show. It is going to be so good. So good. All right, let's dive right in and see what we can find out. So, the Marvel logo gets another creative treatment. That was really fun to watch it switch around, ending up red there. And all the letters obviously are spelling Loki. I'm sure you noticed that, but very cool. And the tagline is awesome. On October 6th, the timeline is running out. Very, very cool. Love it. Absolutely love it. All right, so I am going to organize this trailer in sections rather than do it scene by scene because I think it makes more sense to try to pull everything together because, boy, was it all over the place, which is great. I have no problem with that. So I'm going to start with a scene that I really hope is the opening scene or close to it, and that's this scene at the Citadel, literally right after He Who Remains was killed. You can see him sitting there, his deceased body right in the middle. So I'm really, really hoping they show us what Sylvie did. We know what Loki did. He got sent back through the portal by Sylvie. But where did Sylvie go? And why did she leave? So very, very interesting. I really hope that it picks up here and tells us what happened. Also kind of hoping it ties into the Quantum Mania post-credit scene. You remember with the timekeeper statues there and everybody meeting together. How does that relate to what happened at the end of Loki season 1? I'm betting we won't get the answer, but I'm really, really hoping we do. Because obviously here's another scene from the Quantum Mania post-credit where the timelines were going nuts. So I hope they tie it all together. All right, Loki definitely seems very, very worried. I don't know what it is he's looking at in this scene. It's measuring something. I can't really read it. If anybody is able to tell, leave it in the comments. But definitely, I'm sure it's not good, whatever it's telling him. Then this is really cool. It looks like he's going to have to give a crash course to Mobius on everything he learned. And before he destroys this, I want to point something out. A lot of people have questioned whether or not the sacred timeline is one timeline or multiple timelines. And Michael Waldron had a quote that I've shared many times in different videos where he said that the sacred timeline is really more like a rope with interwoven timelines. So it's more than one. And the bottom line is just none of those timelines create a Kang. What he's pruning, what he's having the TVA prune, is the ones that create a Kang. And I think this canonizes his interview. Because look at that, there's multiple strands. It's not one sacred timeline, it's multiple timelines, just none of them create a Kang. But speaking of Kang, Loki uses his pruning stick to prune away the false information, the false facade, and we see, of course, Kang himself. And as Loki says, there's nothing that stands between this world and utter destruction. Very cool. Then also, he's later in the trailer, we see him looking at a mural that has a bunch of the Kangs, probably portraying the multiversal war. I have no idea what they're standing on. I hope those aren't surfboards. Leave that to the Silver Surfer, please. Probably time discs of some type, but very cool. And then something over on the right where it seems like the timekeepers are maybe talking about how to prune the timelines. So then I'm guessing the scene where Mobius and Loki enter the elevator is to go down to see OB, who we'll see in a second. And then he kicks the lower floor there. And it seems like this is down in the basement. I mean, it looks kind of basement-y, but I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see. And then, yeah, Mobius refers to him as OB. So OB, I believe, based on what I've been reading about, is actually short for Ouroboros. Tell me if I'm saying that wrong. Ouroboros, the snake that represents infinity. Notice how you get the infinity sign and he's biting his own tail, thus the continuous loop. So that's really cool. So OB's character and Mobius's character are both named after something that shows an infinite loop, the Mobius strip in Mobius's case. So it looks like OB is the one that created a lot of the devices. If you look at the posters on the left, on the far left, you can see the word tube. And notice there's a ton of tubes. We haven't seen those before, at least that I can remember, in season 1. They look like banker's tubes, like you'd put notes and send them down. So that'll be interesting to see. But over on the right, it says temperamental temp pad. And so it's clear that this is the person you go to get stuff fixed. And I love his entrance, man. Obi coming down from up above. Who knows what he was doing up there? I just know it was really cool. So they're telling him, basically, we have a bit of a situation. We wanted to run by you. And, of course, we finally see OB. And, yes, it is Short Round from A Temple of Doom. So glad to have him back. Such a great actor, a kid actor at that point, and then now appeared in everything, everywhere, all at once, and did a fantastic job. So apparently, anything that's multiversal, we're going to see him in. So anyway, his shop is named Repairs and Advancements, I think, probably. So in other words, he obviously repairs the things that are broken and advances the tech along. So very, very cool role. Can't wait. It's going to be awesome. Okay. Then we see what will later be explained as time slipping, and oh my goodness, so nasty looking. Look at that. It's like Mr. Fantastic went nuts. Ugh, that scene there, his face is just melting away. Ugh. And also Tom Hiddleston, the fact that he's gyrating so well makes this scene so powerful. I mean, look at that. He is just throwing his body around everywhere. And then finally, once he vanishes, Obi's like, oh, time slipping. And then this is interesting. Mobius says it's Obi says it's impossible to time slip in the TVA. I'm guessing he's saying that because, the TVA is supposed to be outside of time. So a couple things may be going on here. Something special may be happening that allows Loki to time slip in the TVA, or the whole TVA is outside of time might be BS from the first season. Because remember, Kang, He Who Remains, basically did a bunch of propaganda, not just to Loki and Sylvie, but to the entire TVA. The TVA didn't even know their own mission. He lied to them left and right. So maybe they aren't outside of time. Maybe the Citadel is outside of time, but maybe they're not. So let me know what you think in the comments. How is Loki able to time slip at the TVA? Very interesting. Because as Mobius says, I know he shouldn't be able to, but we just saw it happen. So yeah, very interesting. And then he keeps slipping away, showing up in one of the, looks like Inquisition rooms at the TVA. Ugh, that one's so nasty. Ugh. Then I don't know. Now he's slipping through time, as he said. I've been pulled through time, and I love that he appears in front of one of those inflatable weirdo things that they have in front of shops. And look at that. Loki's arms are spread out, and the weirdo thing is spread out. I hate those things. I don't know why. They just freak me out. But so it's only appropriate. Loki would be right in front of them. And then but the shop he's at, the store he's at, sells jet skis. You got to love it, right? Grab one for Mobius, please. In fact, if we don't see Mobius in a jet ski, I'll be so disappointed. So disappointed. Gotta happen. All right. So he says, I've been pulled through time between past and present. So this opens up another theory I've had for a while, that obviously the rules in Endgame are that you cannot travel through time without branching. And we saw that clearly. But I'm wondering if Kang and his tech is able to travel through time without branching. Basically, this time slipping. It would be a little more controlled than what poor Loki's going through, but I'm wondering if Kang has that ability. And if it's tied to the bangles, that could explain how Kamala was able to go back in time. She basically time slipped. So just a theory, but let me know what you think. And then I know some people have been theorizing that maybe the time slipping is the same as what we saw in the Spider-Verse movies, but I don't know. I don't think it's the same, because that was glitching. You were glitching in and out of your own dimension. This is slipping through time in your own dimension, in your own universe. So we'll see. Let me know what you think. If it's the same as Spider-Verse glitching, I don't think it is. All right, so kind of wild. He actually time slips to a point where he finds himself. Now, luckily, before he meets himself, he glitches away, time slips away. But look at that monitor. The monitor is very interesting. So I think it says, it's really blurry. I hope the show is not as blurry as the trailer. It's just a low-res trailer, I guess. But I think it says time overload. Because notice on the left, there's a bunch of something, and then there's like a funnel, and then a nice straight line. So my guess is on the left is a bunch of timelines that are being destroyed then down to the sacred timeline. Maybe? Hold on to that thought, though, because this next scene makes me wonder if they're trying to address that overload. So first of all, this was really funny, where Mobius says, is it cracked? And Obi's like, oh, that's no problem. Duct tape. Boom. Honestly, folks, duct tape solves everything. Trust me. He said, you're good. And notice a suit there in the far left, too. There's other suits. Here we go, though. Look at this. So Mobius heads out, and that looks exactly like the monitor we saw earlier. Only now it seems pretty clear. On the left is timelines, I think. Then they're maybe being funneled in and destroyed Maybe that's representing the void. They're sent to the void. Maybe that's how things get sent to the void. So anytime that it's quote unquote pruned, that's what's happening. And then on the right, we're down to that sacred timeline again. But again, not one timeline, multiple. Just my guess. But doesn't it look like that's what's happening? If not, tell me what you think. I think this is really going to be key to some of the early episodes in the show. All right, so we see Loki and Mobius travel to the past, which is pretty cool. Do some good old-fashioned legwork. And in particular, they go to a midway, which I do believe is the World Columbian Fair in Chicago in 1893. Columbian Fair, I believe this was to celebrate the 400th year of Columbus, quote unquote, discovering America. I won't get into that. But yeah, this is an actual historical event. So here we see a night picture, and notice the structure, the building there near the top. Both the building now is on the left there, and the Ferris wheel on the right. This is historical footage from the World Columbian Fair in Chicago in 1893. So yeah, very cool, and very well done. I know where they spent their money on this episode. This is very cool. All right, so of course they have popcorn, right? Even in 1893, there's popcorn. All right, and then we meet Victor Timely, and you wonder sometimes with this audio if it really is tied to what we're seeing. But theoretically, Victor Timely's saying make the hard choice. Maybe he has to make the hard choices. And then we see absolutely the same thing we saw at the Quantumania final post-credit scene. And Loki's saying it's him, which is right out of that post-credit scene. And then this is a shot that wasn't in the trailer, but I pulled it from the post-credit scene where they're, telling you, hey, it's Victor Timely. So very cool, very cool. And I don't know what he's doing here, but it's sweet, right? Maybe Howard Stark checked into some of his tech for his World Fair. And then I don't know what's going on here. I just know it looks cool. That's a ticked off Miss Minutes, basically scaring the crowd away. And then I don't know what's going on here either. It looks like Loki's blasting him away. It's got to be Victor Timely because notice the Ferris wheel sign there, and it sure looks like him from behind. So that's very interesting. And then what's going on here? Did Ravonna, when she left at the end of Loki season 1, did she go to the past? I mean, there have been people saying, in their opinion, Victor Timely is Kang Prime, the first one. Makes sense, right? He's the farthest one back in time. If so, that might be why Ravonna is going to check it out because he's the main Kang. Of course, does she know who Kang is? Does she know why she's there? So many questions. Can't wait for this series. All right, then what on earth is going on here? She's got the same outfit. Notice her tie and her collar, and she's got a pruning stick, I guess. Although that looks like a pruning gun. I don't know what's going on there. And then same outfit. Now she's in the void. Oh man, so much going on in this trailer. It's nuts. The reason I say it's the void is the purple. So is Alioth still alive? I had theorized that Sylvie, when she put the spell on him, he dispersed, but and therefore died. But I've had a lot of people say, no, he didn't die. He just either went to sleep or dispersed, but he's come back. Sure looks like it here because she's pretty scared. All right. In addition to going back to 1893, we also seem to go to the 70s. And I'm saying that because I think some of these movie posters, which I can't make them out, but some of them are real movie posters, and they're things that debuted in the 70s. Maybe even 74, I saw some people theorizing. So, okay, great. But the most important thing to pick up is Zaniac, which is the main movie that's going to be dealt with in this this part of the timeline. Who the heck is Zaniac, right? Well, one of those one-off weirdo characters, actually fought Thor of all things. I don't know how much they're going to adapt from the comic, so I'm not going to go deep into the comic, but the bottom line is an actor, Brad Wolfe, who was playing a serial killer in a movie, ends up being taken over by an evil spirit and becomes Zaniac. Now, whether in Loki he's really going to become Zaniac or not, I don't know. But I really do think they're adapting some of this because, remember, Brad Wolfe, right? Well, look at the poster over on the far right in this picture. It says, "Marry me, Brad Wolfe." So, pretty clear the dude waving is the actor Brad Wolfe. And I guess he's going to be taken over by some type of evil spirit. Who knows where it came from? Who knows how far they're going to go to adapting that, but very interesting. It really does seem like they're sticking somewhat to the overall storyline from the comics. All right, so then Loki, I love this. A little over the top, don't you think, Mobius says. And Loki says, I thought it was spot on. Cannot wait to see more of those two interacting because that was some of the best, maybe the best parts of the entire Loki season 1, Mobius and Loki. Now, I can't tell. Is this the same time frame? I mean, the buildings kind of look the same, but what is Hunter B-52 wearing and why? Is it for the movie premiere, maybe? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. But notice the buildings. See, they look the same, right? It looks like this is the 70s, New York, I guess. So anyway, big fight with Brad, Zaniac, tons of different scenes interspersed throughout the trailer that I've kind of tried to pull all together. Here he's confronting Mobius, and Loki blasts him. This is kind of wild. He's ready for a fight, right? He's like, bring it on, Loki, bring it on. And then Loki somehow enchants the shadows to grab him. That is wild. I did not know he had that power. Maybe I missed something. In the comics, I'm sure he did something like that over time, but I've never seen him do that in the movies, obviously. Then here's Brad/Zaniac being blasted down a flight of stairs. So it seems like it'll be a pretty big fight with this dude. Then, now we're back in the TVA, seemingly, and whatever Loki's doing with his little device there, he flicks it, and someone who I'm guessing is Brad, who's now captured, flies back, and then I don't know if he flew into this Tempad trap or what, but that really looks like him, the same kind of hairstyle. Maybe not. Tell me if you don't think it is, but it does look like they're bringing him back for questioning, maybe? Who knows? Then what is going on with Sylvie? I love the look. It's awesome. It kind of reminds me of Stranger Things. My guess is this is the 70s, the same time frame as the Zaniac scenes, but it could be the 80s as well. And great. I love that look. And then I think this is around the same time. I mean, Sylvie's hair seems to kind of be the same style. Notice there and there seems the same style. But what is going on in this room? Like, all the wires everywhere that I'm thinking she's creating, and then in front of her, look right underneath her chin is some wires. It looks like wires, at least. Then in this shot, though, you can see it looks like a record that she's literally either weaving together or unweaving. Wild. No clue. And notice there's a record on the wall. Notice the record on the wall to the right of her, and that seems to be falling apart slowly. Wild. All right. Always time for pie, right? Although I'm going to be honest, that doesn't look very appetizing to me. I've had some good key lime pie, and that don't look like good key lime pie. But yeah. And then I love it though, the pie shop there with all the pie. I guess that's pretty common from the 70s. Maybe they're still in the 70s. But I cannot imagine going and getting a piece of pie from those machines. Anyway. It looks like Sylvie is now with them because notice that's still the pies behind them. So I think this is the TVA. I don't know why it looks like the 70s, but maybe this is the TVA commissary. Maybe they pattern themselves after nasty commissaries from the 70s. Anyway, clearly they have brought Sylvie with them. I'm guessing that they found her there in the 70s. All right, so I love this line where Sylvie's saying, we're playing God, and Loki's like, we are gods. He's right. He's spitting truth. All right. So then, Sylvie pulls out this massive sword. I don't know who she's going after, but that thing's going to hurt. And then look at the clocks on the wall. So are we in the TVA at this point? Are we somewhere else? Out the window, that looks interesting. Maybe that's the messed up timelines out the window, or who knows what it is. So very interesting scene. Then this is interesting. Do we now learn about Hunter B-15's past? Because she's walking down the hallway and notice there's no portal behind her, and then boom, now the portal's behind her. So I think we're going to learn, where everybody came from before they were pruned and came into the TVA as workers. So maybe she was a doctor. Very cool if so. And then poor Casey, what's going on with him? Why is he on the run? Remember, Casey from the first season was the one with where Loki found that all the Infinity Stones were paperweights. Love Casey, glad he's back, but what is going on? So is this maybe his life before going to the TVA? I mean, if so, he's probably really glad to be working at the TVA, to be honest. So who knows? Then these final scenes, it's like everything's just going nuts. The thing's falling off the wall. Who knows why? What on earth is going on out the window? It looks like absolute chaos. Something blew up, seemingly, because there's a flash of bright light. What on earth is Mobius holding? Is that a weapon? Is it a bottle he's going to rub to get a genie out of it? What on earth is that? Anyway, and then this thing, is it a flying car? All I know is you better duck, because that thing's coming in fast. It's coming in hot. And then what is this? What is this? Thank you for your service, Miss Minutes, as everything is just being torn apart, turned into spaghetti. Kind of like in Ant-Man, how some of them turned to spaghetti. But also, like we saw earlier with Sylvie, being slowly pulled apart like string cheese. So wild, very wild. Then what is OB doing here? I'm pretty sure this is OB, because you're going to see in a second when he pushes this button that sure looks like his sleeve. So he's clearly working with them. So they're all going to be together a lot, which is great. I hope he has a huge role. And then what? Why is Loki falling? Notice in the middle, little upper middle there, you can see him falling. And then he falls past a sign, which if anybody can read this, let me know. I think it says timeline and then maybe preservation. And then the bottom word, so that's on the top line. And then the second line, I don't know what it says. But yeah, what on earth is going on? And then now he's in a boat. It's just crazy. They just throw all these scenes at us all at once. And yeah, we do want to know what you're looking at too, right? Tell us, what are you seeing? It ain't pie. I guarantee that. It ain't just pie. And then what is this? When does this happen? Now suddenly Loki's got the neck brace on again. And he's basically saying, how do you choose who's going to live or die? Okay, is it a flashback maybe? Did he capture another Loki variant? Craziness. Then the final fight, or the final piece of the trailer at least, it seems to be a big time fight. You see a bunch of TV agents all coming in. Loki's throwing down with them. Sylvie's throwing down. They're back together again, grabs this dude and chucks him on the ground. And then they light up some big spell and boom, waste whichever ones were still standing. And then finally, as the trailer ends, Loki says, I'm a head out. Time for Loki Season 2. Oh, my word. It's going to be good. October 6th. Can't come soon enough. Let me know what you think. Did I miss anything from the trailer? Any big things that I should have discussed? Are you excited? I can't wait. All right. Don't forget, we do have a Discord server. Here we are talking actually about the official trailer. And yes, I am behind on reading my chats. Look at all that white. Oof. I gotta do some catching up. Anyway, if you're interested in joining, you can look at a pinned comment that will have a link to the server. Also, if you don't mind, like this video, subscribe if you haven't already. You can check out more content, and we can all continue to enjoy the ever-growing, ever-changing Marvel Cinematic Universe.